My name is Rachel Smalls. I'm the manager of entrepreneur selection and growth at an organization called Endeavor, and extremely thrilled for this conversation and the opportunity for the three of you to kind of share. Assisting with this conversation as well, beyond the OneTen CEO Maurice Jones, who we have here, we also have with us General Assembly CEO Lewin, and of course Interapt CEO Ankur Gopal. But let's just dive right in quickly and get things started by Maurice. I'd love to start with you here and chat a little bit about how does OneTen's mission progress opportunities for Black America?
Sure, yeah. Well, OneTen's mission is to hire, advance, and promote 1 million Black talent who don't yet have 4-year degrees into family-sustaining jobs and careers over the next 10 years. So just to give you the context, if you look at our country today and you look at jobs that pay $60,000 and above, you will see that on paper, about 79% of them require a 4-year degree. If you look at jobs that pay $40,000 and above, you will see that on paper, about 71% of them require a 4-year degree. So you have 4-year degree requirements that are literally gateways for people to even be able to compete for these jobs. Well, here's the deal. 76% of Black talent in the workforce ages 25 and above today do not have a 4-year degree. So you've got a credential that is a barrier, a systemic barrier to Black talent earning their way into the middle class. And what the OneTen journey about is eliminating that systemic barrier and giving Black talent a chance to compete on the basis of the skill sets that they bring to the table and that they can acquire. And also making sure that these companies are not leaving this genius on the sideline that they need in order to grow. That's how I would tell you the OneTen journey both is about making sure that there's access, but also making sure that folks don't leave great talent on the sideline. We cannot be a sustainably great country if we're leaving great talent on the sideline.
That's incredible, and even more so incredible to hear that you guys are looking to tap into that the genius that you mentioned. And so speaking of that, definitely wanted to hear from your take as well. What excites you most about having this partnership with General Assembly and with Interapt, and how are you guys looking to work together to kind of solve those specific talent gaps that you're talking about?
Yeah, so what excites me is, we've got organizations here that have a proven track record of partnering with the talent that we're talking about to make sure that talent is equipped and ready on day one. And that talent can continue to enhance its skill sets in order to grow both individually and grow the enterprises that they're a part of. So I'm glad you asked that question, because I want to make sure people understand this is a team sport, right? We need the companies, no doubt about it. We also need those organizations who have the muscles to help our talent get ready and stay ready. That's what the partnership with these two incredible organizations is about. So we're grateful and excited.
Amazing to hear. Happy to pass the baton as well to both you, Lisa, and Ankur as well, to share a bit as well. Receiving the great praise from Maurice in terms of the way your organizations are partnering with OneTen. Can each of you talk about how you're approaching this relationship and how you guys are going about thinking about making this happen?
Absolutely. So first, thank you for the work that OneTen is doing and that you're leading, Maurice. It's incredibly, deeply important work whose time has come, whose time is probably past due and overdue. So thank you for championing this incredibly critical work. General Assembly has been on this mission going on 11 years now. We started as an organization built to create an alternative pathway over a traditional four-year degree into a high-paying career in tech. A better, faster, more affordable pathway to accessing in-demand jobs in industry. And as Maurice said, we have shown the ability to do that and train people up who do not have a traditional four-year degree to be job ready. And many of those graduates, in fact, a high proportion of those graduates are people of color and specifically people who identify as Black. On the other side, we also have been partnering for not quite 11 years, for 8 years now, with employers, with large enterprises in particular, who are looking to solve multiple problems. One, solve a tech skills and tech talent gap that's only growing more and more acute. And then layer on top of that, the need to diversify those workforces. And the reason, as we all know, that they must, that it's an imperative that they diversify that workforce and the tech workforce in particular, is because those services need to match the demographics of the consumers that they want to serve, number one. Number two, what we've seen, particularly in the pandemic, is an increase in churn and turnover, requiring employers and large enterprises to look for alternative talent pools because they can't just rely on the traditional sources of talent. And then finally, what we've seen is that when companies access non-traditional pools and then invest in training them up and reskilling them, they stay longer. And so we see ourselves, and we work with really high quality, high impact partners like Interapt to be that bridge. We see ourselves as that two-sided marketplace, connecting our strivers. That's how we refer to them. People with the will and skill, but maybe until they came to us, not having the opportunity, right, but have the will and skill to succeed in a career in tech, connecting those strivers into companies that have these acute and pressing needs for tech talent, and in particular, diverse tech talent.
Well said. I think, as we approach this partnership, and Maurice, thank you for the kind words as well, but it is a team sport, and that's why we selected, many years ago, about 4 years ago, when I had a talent problem myself in my company, we couldn't find people fast enough, and that was hindering our growth. I said, I need to find people no matter where they're from, what they look like. I don't care. I need them to have the skill sets, and I need them to be willing to, roll their sleeves and come to work. And the first salvo we did that with, we built our own training program. It worked. As we started seeing more companies look at us and said, hey, can you do that for us? We found it was a real problem. It started off with a talent problem. And then as we started delving into it and getting more wins and expanding our company size, we realized that there's a number of people that have the aptitude, but not the opportunity that many of us have had. And that's what the difference is in why one person's successful and one is not, was the opportunity presented to the right person. So then with the partnership with General Assembly, we said, you're a top training provider in the world. You can really create strong skill sets in a short period of time if you have the right person. Well, I tell you what, I'm willing to invest in that person if you're willing to commit to getting them skilled up to what I need them to do, so I can go to my customers, we're an IT services firm, and show them that we have the right talent to do the work you need and then some. And then fast forward to that relationship that we built with General Assembly over the years, that led us to OneTen. And when I saw Maurice and the OneTen mission of how they were approaching this problem, how they were using the inequity, the obvious inequity that has plagued our country for a long time, but saying here's a solution for it, the dignity of a skill, the opportunity of a job, providing security for their family, and having upward mobility, I said, where do I sign up? Because this is something that I firmly believe in and I've seen happen over the past 6 years as we've been doing it. Bear in mind, we are a for-profit company and we are able to take quality people, skill them up, and add value to the companies that need it most. So for us, this was a no-brainer to work with OneTen to really share in the work. And for us, if you look at our numbers, that I'm very proud of at Interapt, we have a lot of blue chip Fortune 100 clients. If you look at our workforce, 61% of them are people of color, 58% are women, and 20% are veteran or veteran spouses. That's internal data that we can tout that, I'm proud of it, but our clients care the fact that we have workers that deliver the work, and when they see the different perspectives that diverse backgrounds give, they say, wow, that person is even better than I thought they'd be. Case in point, a Fortune 15 client recently said, the people that you're bringing into our company are as good or better in a very short period of time than other people that we have internally. And that to me is not saying we're better, but I'm bragging about the people who have put in the work and the time to take advantage of the opportunity we put in front of them. Because once we lead them to water, it's up to them to drink it and keep drinking it, to provide, get promoted, upskill themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So we're very proud of the work we're doing, and this partnership with General Assembly and OneTen is just another validation of that work.
It's fantastic, fantastic, and thanks to you all three for sharing your perspectives. I know as we're getting to closing thoughts, final question I open for the floor for anyone to kind of share is more specifically, what's the biggest hurdle that you kind of see as you guys kind of head into the future of this partnership? Or vice versa, what's the most optimistic thing you have that you're excited about as you guys head into this year and making big impact, the three of you?
You want to start us off, Ankur, and we'll give Maurice the last word?
Sounds good, please.
Fantastic.
So I would say I think the biggest hurdle is that there are still too many recruiters, hiring managers, employers that are using the degree as a proxy for quality, even though we know from data that it's a pretty poor proxy, right? There are still requirements that are getting embedded into job descriptions that do not actually track to readiness or performance on the job. And I think that those of us that know about that disconnect it's really incumbent upon us to continue to evangelize with employers and point out that until they're willing to sort of change that frame and change that behavior and move to a more skills-based model of assessing talent, that they're going to have a hard time building the diverse tech talent workforces that they want and need. It's that old adage, if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. And organizations and partnerships like ours, Ankur and I through Interapt and GA, it's like we really have seen what a change in approach and attitude can do, not just for the numbers of diversifying the workforce, but actually improving the business outcomes that an employer will get once they're able to kind of shift that frame. So that to me is maybe gets to both of your questions, Rochelle, what I'm what needs to change, but also what I'm excited about because it seems like it is finally changing.
And to piggyback on what you said, Lisa, the business, one of the hurdles is that when you look at the business that uses a degree as a proxy or traditional methods, my biggest hurdle is intrinsic bias, and it's kind of falls step in line with exactly that. But it's not just bias on having a degree, it's bias on what zip code you came from. But where you're from Kentucky, you may not be able to solve my needs. You're from this neighborhood, you may not be able to solve my needs, et cetera, et cetera. That bias is more than just where did you go to school, do you have a degree? It's deeper rooted. And so, but at the end of the day, as you start seeing that bias sort of erode, that leads into that's my biggest hurdle, but it's also causing my optimism, because currently we're at a moment in time in our country where you have a talent crisis front and center. You have an equity crisis front and center. So tell me where the workforce is going to, and you have a workforce that needs to be reskilled and upskilled in communities that need to have jobs. So when you look at the perfect storm of opportunity for this partnership to thrive, it is a question of eliminating the bias, delivering the quality required, and creating a win for the individual who is able to provide for their family and really take part in the American dream that is, frankly, eluded by design many people over the past decades, over and over again. The data speaks for itself. So what excites me the most about this moment in time is that we have a track record that we talked about to deliver this work. We have, I can tell you one individual, a woman who, Trentoria from our company, who was making $7 an hour. She was willing to put in the time. We invested the tuition of an education and mentorship and apprenticeship into her. She's now a team lead. She's making over $25 an hour. She's providing for her family. And that story isn't just resonating with one person. We see our people who we take, who are under the poverty line in some cases, and we move them into a livable wage in less than months. See measures in their life that make them a contributing member of society and a fulfilled individual as a citizen of our country. That's what gets me up every morning. That's why I hounded Maurice and said, I've got to be part of your mission because I love what you're doing and I want to be a small part of that. But truly, I've seen this time and time again. Companies that may have that bias, it's time to get rid of it, because you need the work to stay competitive. You need the team to really make sure that they're able to speak to the broad global customer base you have. You've got a corporate responsibility that your shareholders are looking at on your ESG reports, et cetera. So this solution is a win-win-win for everybody. And that's what makes me most optimistic. The individual wins, the community wins, the company wins. And frankly, I mean, you know,
and the societal wins.
And societal wins. I mean, you're talking about creating more equity and more opportunities for people from all walks of life. And frankly, that's what motivates me to get up every day and do this work.
Let me just say amen to to the two sermons I just heard, right? And then let me just add my little piece. First of all, I'm a naive optimist. Last year, the OneTen coalition and employers, great organizations like General Assembly and Interapt, talent, wraparound support providers. From March through the end of the year, there were 25,000 hires and promotions within that coalition. I am incredibly encouraged that the forces of change are moving in the right direction, that companies are understanding that skills first needs to be the muscle that they develop, that we already have great organizations like the two you have with you here and that OneTen has with us that can equip that talent, and that there are 10, 11 million underutilized just Black talent alone in our country to work with. And that doesn't mention all the other talent. I think the stars are aligning for us to have true transformation. And I believe that if we can stay at this work long enough together, trust one another, forgive one another, and keep working hard, we're literally on the verge of a transformation with our companies, with our talent, with our workforce, period, and ultimately, frankly, with the country. And so I'm looking forward to it. Happy Black History Month to everybody. but I am quite encouraged that that we're in the midst of a movement, and we want to maximize it.
Amazing. Well, truly inspired by all three of you. Thank you so much for your time on today's conversation.
Thank you.
Dedication to the missions that you guys have across the country. So thanks a ton, everyone.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Maurice.
Peace. Thank you all. Stay with. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, we will.
All right.
See you.
Take care. Take care.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Thanks, Rochelle.